Hello, folks. This is Bob Cefail, and we're here for our Digital Experts Intel Report. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that you can hear me. And the first thing I want you to do here is if you can hear me, there's a little hand on the upper right-hand side of your screen. Just click on that hand so I can see that you can actually hear. Can you hear me? Just click on those little hands. Do I see some hands waving there? Just click, oh, there we go. That's nice. See some more hands. So I'm pretty clear, right? Okay. So you got some hands going up. So you can all hear me. That's fantastic. Wow. What a crowd. This is unbelievable. It's our first one, and we're approaching 100 people already. And we have a whole lot more trying to get in. So we're going to have a crowded room here tonight. And first of all, I want to let you know that we're now going to be doing these events every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And that's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will be recording these and we will be putting them up. But listen, if you are somebody who is here and attending the event, guess what? You guys are going to get some free coins. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Now, I just want to let you know, why are we here? Well, the purpose of this event is to make sure that you have enough information about this whole crypto industry. And specifically, what we did is Bruce Wiseman, who's our partner in this business, owns a market research firm called On Target. He did a huge survey, almost 500 people, that let us know exactly what people want to know about cryptocurrencies. And then we did another survey, and I think some of you guys actually participated in it. Another close to 500 corroborated what Bruce found out. And let me tell you exactly what Bruce found out. He found out that the number one thing that people want to learn about is how do you find the right cryptocurrency? How do you pick them? When do you buy? And when do you sell? And the other big thing that people told us over and over and over again that they wanted to learn about is they wanted to learn about the future. They wanted us to help give you a peek into the crystal ball, near term, medium term, far term. And so we have a whole faculty of experts that are going to be on these webinars every week, filling you in on what's going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is you. And what I mean by you is you're an investor, a potential investor, or you're looking to buy coins. Now, here's the key thing. You have to know who you are. Because if you understand what your goals and purposes are as an investor, guess what? You're going to do okay. Now, there really are several types of investors. I break them up into what I call starters and veterans, but I also break it up into another piece. There are folks that are what I call high threshold investors. Okay, what I mean by that is they can handle ups and downs, big ups and downs. You know, sometimes you've seen with these coins, they'll be at $2, and then they'll be at $8, and then they'll be at $3, and they'll be at $4, and it'll be at $10, and it'll be at $2. Guess what? If you have a high threshold of investor pain, you're not going to, that won't bother you. Then there's what I call a low threshold investor. Now, that's not a bad mark. It just says that you would rather experience a little bit more even ride. Okay, so there are high threshold, low threshold, and then there are starters. Okay, and there are long-term players. So you've got starter investors who are really trying to feel things out. And then you have long-term players who are going to let it ride for a while. Okay? High threshold, low threshold. And if you know that, if you know who you are, If you know, listen, I want an even ride. That's what I really want to be at. Or you're somebody who says, hey, listen, I can go up and down like a roller coaster. It doesn't matter. One of the things, though, what I can't stress this enough. You do not want to bet the house on crypto right now. It's going up and down too much. So you really have to figure out, what is your level of participation? Is it $500? Is it $1,000? Is it $5,000? But that number is going to monitor how much your threshold goes up and down. Does that make sense? You got to make sure that what you're doing is something that you're going to be you're going to be able to experience it a little easier. Okay. Now, here's the key thing. The other key thing you have to know without a doubt, and you got to write this down 5 or 6 times. It's the key to investing. It's really 2 words. No remorse. Let me say that again. No remorse. It's kind of like a football analogy. Some of you probably like to watch football, who knows? But sometimes you'll see a long touchdown throw and the defender gets beaten. Now, in football, you teach that defender to not worry about the play. Go right to the next play. That's what an investor has to be all about. You've got to be working on the next play. You can't say, oh boy, I should have bought Bitcoin 8 months ago. I didn't. And you can't take that loss through into the present. You can't do that. Okay, that's very key for you to understand. Now, let's talk about the type of coins. And this is very important because there really are what are really 2 levels of coins, or maybe even 3. There are pre-IPO companies. These are companies that have not, or I should say ICO, that's initial coin offering. There are pre-ICO companies, okay? One of the examples of a pre-ICO would be a company that hasn't even started, selling coins. Now, those type of companies offer the biggest returns. They have the biggest extremes. You could literally have a company that's pre-ICO that does what's called a pre-launch, and then they could be selling their coins at 10 cents, and all of a sudden they go up to a wicked climb up to $3. But you'll have big extremes with pre-launch, pre-ICO type companies. Then there's your post-ICO companies. Now you're looking right now, and I want you to put your hand up. Do you see this page that says coin ranking? We see all these coins. Just take your little hand and turn the button on and off. You see that? Great. All right. So what you see in front of you are what I call major post-ICO companies. Now, the biggest major post-ICO company out there, of course, is Bitcoin. But then you have other major ICO companies. These are post-ICO. That means there are millions of coins that have been sold. That would be Ethereum as an example. That's a post-ICO company. There's Litecoin. That's a post-ICO company. You have to understand that the more mature the company is, the less the extremes between a low and a high price. The newer the company, the bigger the extremes. And you can see extremes at huge extremes. They could be at 10 cents, then $2, and then back down again. I would tell you, if you don't like experiencing extremes, don't get involved with a pre-ICO or a brand new post-ICO company. So once again, you got to know who you are. You got to know what your comfort level is before you jump into this world. That's for sure. Now, the next thing I want to touch on real quickly here is this, and this is important. There are many exchanges. but you got to know some of the big exchanges to really know how to trade. And the biggest exchange out there, or at least the one that's the most well-known, I should say most well-known in the United States at least, is Coinbase. Now, Coinbase has a very limited trading. I mean, they only work with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. They have a very, very tough the coins have to be very mature. Now, Coinbase, knowing this, set up another exchange, and that was called GDAX. Now, GDAX is an exchange that handles all sorts of coins. Relatively new ICOs, more mature ICOs. You get much more of a sampling of potential companies that can be involved. Now, once again, I'm just going to let you know, we are recording this, so you don't have to worry about having to listen to this again. That's why I don't take questions. I go straight through the data. It's a lot of information. And we will be recording this. We will put that up for you. So what's important for you to know here is that GDAX has many of those newer ICOs and mid-range ICOs that are post. Okay, so that's important for you to understand. Now, when do you and how do you pick certain currencies? Okay, now let me know if you can actually see this. Sorry, something's on my screen there. We're going to see if I can get rid of that. Okay, here we go. Now, let me ask you a question here. Do you see the Bitcoin price here? Is that clear? Everybody put your hand up. You see that? Turn your hand on and off if you can see that. Great. All right. Now, here's how a lot of the top traders operate, okay? What they do is, as you can see here, this is a 1-month trend for Bitcoin. Now, you'll notice that there has been some tapering off. If you see that little line there, that's a peak. That's at 19,900. Now, what top traders do is they try to anticipate when that peak is going to be reached or close to the peak. And I'll tell you why. Because they know there's going to be some selling off soon. Okay? They know there's going to be some selling off. All right? And what they try to do is they anticipate when there's a sell-off. You know why? Because the people who are selling off, they're not going to take their profits and stick them in a bank CD or stick them on some super conservative investment. Many of them go right in and jump right in again on a coin. Now, this is what's really interesting. I'm going to show you an example of how this works. Now, you'll see that there's starting to be a flattening of Bitcoin right here, okay? Now, where do you think that money went? Well, I'm going to show you where it went. We're going to go to a coin called Ripple, okay? Now, take a look at Ripple, all right? Now, you see what's happening with them? All of a sudden, they had a big jump. Well, that was because some people started anticipating that there was going to be a jump. And they started moving some money out of Bitcoin and moving it right here. I'll give you another example of a company like that. We're talking Bitcoin Cash. Now take a look at a peak. Now you see that? Right here, you had some unloading of Bitcoin and people started moving money into Bitcoin Cash. Okay? Look at that. Big jump, right? That's a huge jump. It's sitting at about 1,800 right here. A couple, 3 days later, it's at 3,300. Why? Because a bunch of Bitcoin money that was liquidated was dropped right into Bitcoin Cash. Okay? Let me show you another example of one. Let's take a look at, how about a little Litecoin? They had some. Actually, no, here's another one. I think Litecoin had a nice little rise. Yeah, there's a little bit more anticipation of Litecoin. But let me show you another currency, Dash. All right, now take a look at their 1-month chart. Look at it here. Look where that Bitcoin money is rolling into. Now, if that makes sense, take your little hand and turn it on and off, if that makes sense. Take a little hand there, and I want to see if y'all see how that works. So what you're doing here is you're taking a look at currencies that are going to be targets for Bitcoin profit taking. All right. So Bitcoin, let me just remind you again, take a look at Bitcoin. This is very, very important. Take a look at Bitcoin. Now you see that? They had this nice little peak, and then people profit. There's some profit taking. And we're not talking about a small amount here. We're talking tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. And where'd that money go? Well, it went to two places. Okay. All right. It went to two places. It went to these 3 to 4 coins I showed you, and they went into pre-ICO companies, because a lot of these folks will take some of their profits and they're going to track down brand new companies. That's what they're going to do. Now they're going to look for pre-ICO. They're going to look for brand new companies, and they're going to take a portion of their profits and they are going to let it ride in those companies. Once again, very important to understand. Now, what you're looking at right here, and by the way, when we do post the recording of the webinar, I'm also going to provide you guys the links to these pages I'm showing you in the order that I have been showing you. So you're going to be able to listen to the recording and you're going to listen to these pages. Okay, does that help? That way you're going to get access to some of these some of these sites. Now, what you're seeing here is a whole bunch of different exchanges. Take a look at all those exchanges. A lot of them, right? Okay, even more. There's a line of these suckers. So a lot of these have smaller companies. Okay, brand new ICOs. So one thing that many of kind of the long-term players have said to me is, you got to take some money and put it in these brand spanking new companies that you feel have a good story. Okay. Now let's kind of move on, and I'm gonna talk a bit about what you're looking for with some of these brand new companies. Okay, what you're trying to find is, do they have some type of technology that sets them apart? Are they, for instance, I've seen a number of currencies out there that are related to energy. Okay, so those coins or those tokens are going to be connected to energy consumption. Well, that sounds pretty cool, right? There are other companies that are connecting their tokens to the delivery of different types of services. Okay, so that's another thing you should look for. When you're looking at brand new companies, you want to see, and by the way, this site is fantastic to go to look at some of these exchanges. Okay, let's see, I'll see if I can pop up exchange right now. I'm just clicking on right now, see what we can see. But this is a great source for you to find different newer companies, different exchanges right here. Okay, so you see that. So when you're hunting big game, you're looking for coins. You got to take a look at, who am I? Am I somebody who can withstand a lot of up and down? Am I somebody who is putting too much in or too little? You got to take a look at what your tolerance is. You then have to take a look at what level of coin that you're going to look for. Are you going to look for a long timer like a Bitcoin, like an Ethereum? Those are post ICO. Are you going to look at medium level ICOs? And I'll pop back over here real quick. We'll see if we can see some more real fast. Like, look at your coin rank here. There's some pretty interesting ICOs, post ICO companies. Monero is doing very, very well. Neo has jumped right off the charts. Very big play right there. But once again, you had to take a look at the fundamentals of the company. Do they have a unique story? That's very, very important. Do they have a unique technology aspect to them? If you're going to put some money into a brand new company, that's what you have to look at. What's the long-term play? Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit more about brand new companies, because if this is key. I hope you could all see the Bitcoin chart. This is the 5-year chart. Do you all see that? Just wave your little hand, turn it on or turn it off, so I make sure you see this. Okay. Does everybody see this? Aaron, just check it out. Do you see this chart? This is the Bitcoin 5-year chart. Okay, hope you all see this. Okay. So imagine if you were somebody who was a little squeamish about putting money into something and you were waiting years to see Bitcoin rise. Look at that. Look how flat that is. Going up very, very, very slowly. This Bitcoin was going up far slower in advance than even the stock exchange was. So obviously the early folks in Bitcoin, they had a very high tolerance of the currency. They weren't trying to make a mortgage payment with their earnings. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about one example of a brand new currency, and one that every one of you is going to get your hands on tonight, and that's CloudCoin. Now, what's CloudCoin all about? Well, CloudCoin is using a technology. It's called anti-counterfeiting. They have a platform that's all over the world, nodes all over the world, and what their technology does is they defeat counterfeiting. That's what they're focusing on. They don't use standard blockchain. Now, why is that a benefit? Why is that a potential breakthrough? Because the transactions using CloudCoin are instantaneous. If you hand somebody a CloudCoin, the anti-counterfeiting nodes know the handoff has taken place, and they know the coin has went from one person to the next, and there's no counterfeiting or fraudulent transaction on it at all. In addition, one of the other reasons that people are very excited about CloudCoin is the fact that there is no public ledger. Every transaction is anonymous. Now, some people they like the public ledger of blockchain. Some people don't, because they want to have an anonymous currency. Okay. But with CloudCoin, the transactions are instant. It doesn't take hours to set up and do a transaction, so it's very good for retail. And in addition to that, it is fully anonymous. And right now, their trading right now has been running between anywhere from 3 cents up to as high as 10 cents. It's been going up and down. It is a pre-exchange currency. It's pre-exchange. It's going on some small exchanges, but I could tell you, once it starts going on more and more exchanges, you can figure it out yourself. There's going to be some lift there. Now, one of the big things that's important to understand as well is what are the future trends going on. Now, a very big thing happened today, or you may have heard it. Goldman Sachs has now opened up a trading desk for Bitcoin and for cryptocurrencies. Goldman Sachs. Now, why is that important? Well, frankly speaking, many of the former top-level Goldman Sachs guys are in government now, and vice versa. You could argue that they're the biggest investment bank in the world. And if cryptocurrencies are now being traded at Goldman Sachs, the last thing that the investors in Goldman Sachs want to have happen is anything go wrong with their cryptocurrencies. They don't want to see any government shutting down cryptocurrencies. So when you see cryptocurrencies being accepted at Goldman Sachs, or as another example, futures trading just started happening with Bitcoin, and that was just in the last few days. So now you have futures trading, which once again involves huge investors. giant funds, big hedge funds. These are the folks that are investing in futures. All right. So when you start seeing those type of things occurring, there's a higher level of acceptance. That's going to stabilize cryptocurrency and continue to make it rise. So once again, that's a very, very important feature and something you should understand. All right. Now, let me show you a very interesting statistic. And this is something you should understand. As an investor, you need to have as much knowledge as possible. And that's very, very important because knowledge is king. The early adopters who made a fortune in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, others, they were early adopters, but they had knowledge that most other people don't have. Now, I want to tell you something. I want to share something with all of you on this webinar. You guys are at the very front end of the wave. You are not late. You are really, really early. Now, you're probably wondering what this chart is. Do you all see this chart? Just if you see the little hand button, just click that on and off. You see this chart. What this chart is, it's the number of wallets that are out there being used. Okay? The number of wallets out there being used. Now, right now, in the third quarter of 2017, there were only 17 million wallets out there. Now, why is that significant? Because that means that there are less than a quarter of 1% of all people out there that live on planet Earth that are involved right now heavily or even doing anything with currencies. Let me say that again. There are only 17 million players out there right now. You're probably thinking, oh, that's a lot of people, Bob. Well, no, it's a quarter of 1% of the population. So everyone here is really, really early. And the advantage that you want to take is how do I arm myself? What do I do? How do I take full advantage of this? Well, I want to talk about, one of the things, and in every one of these webinars, we're going to talk about some expert information, such as I've given you now. And then I want to talk to you about some different solutions and what you can do to get more education and more information about cryptocurrencies, because you guys are early. You have to really get this. You're early. And the way that you are going to take full advantage of being so early is you got to get education. So what we're doing here at Digital Frontier News and Digital Currency Growth is we are launching an education report and training. We call it crash training, Digital Experts Intelligence Report, crash training. And what we're doing with this is we're supplying with our experts over the next 90 days. This is a 90-day crash training program, 90 days. And what you're going to get with this is you're going to get over 20, what we call them, speed lessons. These are speed lessons that talk about different aspects of cryptocurrencies, from how to locate different top currencies, what to look at. You're going to tell you how to look into the companies, what you look for in management, what you look for in their white papers. So, by the way, if you haven't read the white paper of the currency that you're buying, you should. Okay? So these speed lessons are going to teach you exactly how to find companies, where to look for those companies, when exactly to buy, because you don't want to just charge right in. Once again, depending on how new or old the company is, you want to pick the right time to buy. And most importantly, you want to know how long I should hold on this company. So these over 20 different speed lessons written by experts across this industry are going to provide you with that information. I will be supplying those speed lessons through Digital Expert Intelligence Report crash training over the next 90 days. In addition to that, one of the things that people told us when we surveyed them was they wanted to get alerted to brand new currencies. Now, click on your little hand button if you want to know when one of our experts identifies a hot currency. Do you guys want to get instant alerts on that? Because if you're involved with the DEAR program, we call it DEAR, we're going to be supplying you with instant alerts. That means the people that are involved with this crash training are going to receive instant alerts. Example, one of the experts that we are gleaning a lot of information from spotted a currency called NEO about 2 weeks ago. And I actually met him in Las Vegas. And he said, oh, you got to get NEO. And he said, we just looked at this company. It's a huge buy. Well, that company is now almost double the price in just the last 7 days. So as part of our crash training, we want to supply you these instant alerts. That means over the next 90 days, starting January 2nd, when one of our experts spots a hot currency, we are going to send out alerts to the participants in the crash training. So you're going to get those real-time alerts as soon as we see them. So when we see a currency, when we see a brand new currency, when we hear about an ICO that's about to pop, we're going to let you know if we feel that it's a strong currency. So let me just recap once again. We call this the DEAR report or DEAR crash training. What we're going to do is in this crash training, we're going to supply you speed lessons on every single aspect of the cryptocurrency field. Number two, you're going to have access to these continuous instant alerts. So we see a hot currency, we're going to get that out to you right away. I mean, instantly. Then you could take those lessons we're teaching you and say, okay, well, let me see how I'm going to apply this. And I can tell you right now, if you have been buying and selling currencies, I feel very, very confident that the information that we're going to supply in these speed lessons could definitely make you more money. That's for sure. And we believe our tips are going to be pretty powerful too. The third thing we're going to do with this digital expert intelligence report crash training is we are going to be doing very specific interviews that are 15-second quick, what we call them quick shot interviews. And as soon as we do these interviews with top companies, we're going to send everybody the recordings quick. And these are going to be on very specific subjects because right now, just you got to know this. The cryptocurrency industry is changing so fast. The regulatory environment's changing so fast. Currencies are going up so fast that we feel that we've got the key with our whole DEAR crash training is we got to supply you that information as rapidly as possible. So the third part of what we're doing is we're going to be sending you these quick stop recordings where we interview somebody, get it on a recording, and then get it out to you for more information. The fourth thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be doing a ever-growing Q&A platform. Call it an FAQ if you like. That's probably a bad term, but it's a continuous continue adding of information that we're finding on a question and answer basis, so you can access that question and answer system. So just to recap once again, what we feel right now is the biggest advantage that you have right now is the fact that you are really, really early into this game. You are very, very early into this game. And some of the information we share with you tonight, virtually nobody knows. I just want to ask one question real quick. In terms of the information I gave you regarding when to buy into companies as Bitcoin people are profit taking, just put your touch that little hand. Tell me if that was good information for you. Let me know if that just one piece of information about when you should buy, was that valuable? I want to kind of do a quick survey here. So if you thought that was valuable, I'd like to see on the upper right-hand corner, there's a little hand. And if you press on that hand, turn it on and off, I'll be able to see if you think that was valuable or not. So let me know if that was valuable information. Okay, we got a lot of hands going up and down. That's great. Okay. Okay, very good. Now, also, I want you to write this down. Hopefully you got a piece of paper handy. I want you to write down our email address, okay, or my email address. So if you have ideas on topics that you want us to really focus in on, you can send me that information. My email address is bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. Okay, bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. So write that down real quick, bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. Now, getting back to our DEER report, our crash training, that 90-day crash training, you'll have password protected access into the platform, is only $199. That's it. So it's specialized training, specialized information, the 20 different speed lessons, the instant buy recommendations, sell recommendations, the quick snap interviews, 15-minute snap interviews. That's $199 for the first 90 days, and we are only going to be accepting a small number of people. What we're also doing, to give you an idea or a feel for what a brand new hot currency is like, if you purchase a position tonight in the next 90 minutes, we will supply you with 2,500 of the cloud coins. That's 2,500 of the cloud coins. So if you purchase in the next 90 minutes, and where you go to purchase is you go to digitalfrontiernews.com and you go to the info product section. You see this? That's the info product section. And you can learn all about the product and purchase it tonight. You go right to the bottom of the page and you'll be able to access and get it's a limited number of positions. So once again, that's $199. That's a 90-day period. That's 20 of the speed trainings lessons. It's the instant access when our experts see a hot currency, we get that information out to you as quickly as possible. You get access to the 15-minute snap interviews to once again give you information. And last but not least, we're going to have an ever-growing FAQ that you'll have access to regarding this whole program. Now, once again, to get the 2,500 cloud coins, which, by the way, the trading range has been running anywhere from 3 cents to about 10 cents. You get 2,500 cloud coins when you purchase just $199, the DEER training. And I will be shocked if you don't make that money back in many multiples from the lessons and the guidance we give you. Now, I want to let you know real quickly that in order to get your free cloud coins that you get as somebody who has come to this event, you need to go. I'm going to show you real quick. You need to go to digital. I'm going there right now. Digital Frontier News. I'm going to show you what you have to do in order to get your free cloud coins for attending this event. You go to Digital Frontier News and you see the webinar button. You all see that webinar button? Click on that. Click on your little hands if you see the webinar button. You're going to click on that button and you're going to see on the right-hand side, I attended the webinar. So if you want to get your free cloud coins, you get 10 free cloud coins. And imagine this. Imagine, I don't know if you all know the story with Bitcoin. The first ever purchase with Bitcoin was 20 Bitcoins for a piece of pizza. Well, I think that pizza guy did pretty well. Hopefully he kept those coins for a little while. You imagine you get these 10 free cloud coins for attending tonight? Wow. And maybe years from now, let's see what happens. Okay? I think you'll be pretty happy. So once again, I want to encourage you to invite your friends to our next webinar that's between 8 and 8:45 next Thursday night. I think you're going to love the expert we're bringing in on that. And I want to check once again. I hope this is helpful information for you. We are going to put this recording up. I'm going to place the links up so you have access to those. And there you go. So just to recap here real quickly, every single Thursday night at 8 o'clock, the first thing we're going to talk about is at least one secret tip or an interview with an expert, something that can help you make more money, give you more knowledge, make you more money. The second thing we're always going to talk about is a future trend, some information about the future. Like tonight, we talked about the fact that Goldman Sachs today opened up the trading desks. That's a huge thing for cryptocurrencies. And we also talked about the commodities. We saw that Bitcoin futures opened up, and that's been very good for the industry. And last but not least, we believe that the key to your success is knowledge. You guys got to get a lot of knowledge because you're early. You're really early into this game. And our Deer Report crash training is going to supply that knowledge to you. So make sure you get access to that 90-day program. We launch it and you start getting your training on January 2nd. Anybody who orders tonight, let me say this one more time, in the next 90 minutes, you're going to get 2,500 cloud coins. Those are the coins that use anti-fraud, anti-counterfeiting technology with a huge network of nodes all over the world. Transactions are split second. By the way, one of the things we're doing is we have many celebrities who are now beginning to endorse and promote cloud coins, and so we're also getting the guy who heads up cloud coins, Sean Worthington. We've now got him on over 36 media shows in the last 45 days. The more exposure, the higher the buying on those cloud coins. So I hope you enjoyed our event tonight. Remember, you can, when we send you the invite next week to come to our next webinar, let other people know. Send out that link to other people. And also, you can also email me at bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com and give me some ideas of some more topics you'd like to hear about. So I appreciate you all take the time to be here. I hope this was good information for you. And have a happy holidays. Thank you very much.